Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And I am going to show you today how I made a card with the Sweet Strawberry Stamp Set Bundle, which is one of the bundles that is in the current January to June mini catalog from Stampin' Up. And the punch is currently not orderable. And it's saying that it's supposed to be back in stock this week. So I have my fingers and toes and everything else crossed that this punch will be back in stock very, very, very soon so that y'all can order it because it's an awesome punch. It's an awesome bundle. And like I said, I love it. So, hey, Rosie, thanks for joining today. I appreciate you being here. And I see Pam is here as well and Bree. So thanks for joining. Again, I'm just going to use this bundle and keep my fingers crossed. It's saying it's supposed to be back in stock this week, so I am hoping that holds true. The date hasn't changed for like 2 weeks straight, so I'm assuming that it's coming in, and hopefully y'all will be able to get your hands on it. Or if you've ordered it, your back order one will come in as well. So hey, Sherry and Debbie and Mary, thanks so much for joining today. All right, so this is the card we're going to be making today, and again, just a simple little thank you card, which I love those strawberries. I love the images, but let's start with the stamp set. So this is the Sweet Strawberry Stamp Set. Hey, Elise, and I see Krista's here as well, and Karen, so thanks for joining today. And if I missed anyone else, I apologize, but your names kind of flew by all of a sudden. I'm like, whoa. So this is the stamp set. Definitely a very, very good one. I love the sentiments. I love the fonts in the sentiments. So, and this is two-step stamping, obviously, because they're designed to stamp one over the top of the other. And it's a photopolymer set, so you can see through it very easily to stamp with. Even somebody that's kind of blind like me can see through it, so no problem there at all. So you were lucky to get to grab the bundle. I got mine way early, and then like not very long in, I want to say it was kind of early February when they ran out of the punches. So this is the Strawberry Builder Punch, which I know it gets a bad glare on it in the lights. It's easier to see it upside down, all the pieces for it. So it's got the little leaf that you can punch out. It's got the little flower, the smaller of the two flowers, the top for the strawberry, and then the strawberry itself. This flower, actually, there's a small bloom punch in the catalog, in the annual catalog, that punches out this flower perfectly. So it's a really great set. And again, love that you can kind of mix and match the punches and things as well. Okay, a couple other things I used on this. I used the stitched shapes dies, and the circle was cut with the largest of the circle dies on here. And then the sentiment was cut with the smallest of the rectangle dies from the Stitched Rectangles dies. So those are two of my very favorite die sets that I use all the time. So if you watch me, you know that. A couple of things. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining, and Carol as well. Appreciate you being here. A couple other things before we get going. Stampin' Up! Just announced this morning, way, way early, that they are going to be doing free shipping tomorrow on March 17th, Wednesday, March 17th. So whatever day you're watching this, whether it's today, tomorrow, whatever, make sure that you get out and get your order put in for all orders of $50 or greater tomorrow only from 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time through 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. You're going to get free shipping. Again, the order has to be $50 or greater after all of, if you've got coupon codes or anything like that, because I know some people are using their magnetic plate coupon codes and, all that sort of thing. It has to be $50 after all the coupon codes are applied, and you're going to get free shipping from Stampin' Up! So it's an awesome deal that saves you at least 10%, because if your order is, the shipping is 10%, once the order goes over $69.50. So, and anything under that, you're getting more than 10% discount on it. So it's a great deal. Definitely get your order put in through my online store tomorrow. And I've got all the details are posted out on my blog today, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I'll also include them tomorrow when I post this card as well. A couple of other things before we get going. We've got the Hey Chick and the Hey Birthday Chick stamp set bundles that are now available from Stampin' Up. The Hey Chick stamp set is the original Celebration one from a couple years ago. They've added some dies with it, which is awesome, so yay. And you can get them together in a bundle. So if you do not already have the stamp set, you can get it bundled together and save 10%. If you already have the stamp set, then you can just purchase the dies if you're interested. And then we have the Hey Birthday Chick bundle, which the Hey Birthday Chick stamp set is in the current mini catalog, the January to June, but the dies are not. So they are available in a bundle together, or you can get them individually if you already have the stamp set. So yay, it's awesome. They're really cool, really cute dies. And again, the details are posted out on the sidebar of my blog. And then finally, the Butterfly Bouquet products are all in the online store as well, so they're available now to order. There's a really cool stamp set, which is the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set, and then Brilliant Wings dies. You can get them individually or bundled together and save 10% on that. And then the stamp set and dies are actually going to be in the next annual catalog, so these are going to be around for a little while. The designer papers on this form are not. They are only while supplies last through May 3rd. So make sure that you're getting those ordered soon before supplies run out. So there's a beautiful pack of 6x6 Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper, and then the Natural Touch specialty paper as well, and the Natural Touch is 12x12. And then you can also get it in one big huge bundle if you're interested in that, but you can get the items individually as well. All right, let's get going on the card. So, hey, Lori, thanks for joining. And Rachel, I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the card. It's super simple, which is kind of how I roll. So, all right, so let's get going. The first thing I did is I pre-cut some of this. This is a piece of Coastal Cabana. I almost said Calypso Coral, which would have been totally wrong. Coastal Cabana Designer Series paper that I have cut from the Brights 6x6 designer paper pack. This is cut to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And next up, I have got a circle that I have cut from basic white cardstock with the largest of the circles from the Stitch Shapes dies. And then I've got Coastal Cabana ink, and we're just going to take one of the blending brushes, and we're going to add a little bit of ink to the circle. And I'll try not to wiggle the camera too much as I do this, but I apologize if it happens. So, and I'm not really adding a ton of ink to this. I'm just adding it just kind of a little, just to add a little shading, I guess. And I'm kind of trying to concentrate it towards the center and not so much along the edges. But again, the blending brushes are currently turned off for ordering temporarily. They will be back in stock, or they're supposed to be back in stock, I should say, at the end of March. So hopefully you can get yourself a set of these if you don't have them already. They are wonderful brushes for adding color to any project. So the only little trick that I have with them is that usually I don't go directly, unless I'm using a really light color, I don't go directly to my project with the blending brush, just because you can end up with a little glob of ink somewhere, although it's easy to actually blend the globs out. So if you end up with a little accidental whoopsie where you get a glob of ink, you can definitely blend it out pretty easily. All right, next up, I have got the vine, I think it's vine images, that's what I'm calling it. It's a vine image from the Sweet Strawberry stamp set, and I've got Granny Apple Green ink, and we're going to stamp that over the circle 2 times. So I'm going to ink it and actually stamp it on scrap paper, and then stamp it once here on the circle. And then I'm going to do the same thing a second time, only face it the opposite direction. So stamp it on scrap paper, flip it over, and then hopefully stamp it here on the circle. All right, super simple for that. So we've got the background done. Close that up and get this out of the way before I stick my fingers in it. The next thing that I did was I actually took a little bit of the linen thread and just sort of wound it around on the panel. I didn't really do a very nice job of adhering it even. I just took 2 glue dots and put them in places where I knew that I was going to be adhering the strawberries punches over the top of it. So I kind of just took 2 glue dots, and stuck on my finger and not the paper, and stuck them there, and then just kind of took a length of twine and sort of wrapped it around a few times here, and stuck it down. I'm going to make this circle a little bit smaller, I think. Stuck it down to the project, and then just did a couple loops down here. Sure, they're strawberry vines. Okay, so Karen agrees with me. And then just took a loop and stuck it down here and left a string hanging, and just chopped it off here with my paper snips, hopefully. There we go. So again, didn't really neatly put this down, just kind of looped it around and put it on the front of the card. I did a couple of these strawberries ahead of time just because it's the same exact stamping no matter how you do it. So 2 of them are done and stamped already. The one little tip that I have is I have found it easier to use strips of paper when I am stamping these images, just because I know you can set it up and stamp everything all at once, but that's kind of way more effort than I like to put into my stamping. I like it to be quick and easy, so I just found that if I cut up pieces of paper into strips, that I could pretty easily stamp the images and then punch them out with a punch, kind of just stamp them in a row, punch them out in a row. The only thing is you just have to make sure that you leave enough space on either side that you don't accidentally punch off, you know, part of your strawberry that you've stamped with the little flower or the little topper. All right, so I have got my Poppy Parade ink pad here. The other thing to notice as you're using this punch is when you're stamping with it, stamping with the images, just take a look at your punch and watch how you need to position them so that you'll be able to punch the images out once you stamp them. So again, depending on how what type of paper you're using, if you're using a regular, kind of a bigger piece of paper and you stamp your strawberry this way around on the paper and then your punch goes that way, they don't work very well together. You're going to have to hack up your paper. So that is my one little tip, is just making sure that you're paying attention to which way around you're stamping things, because I've done it way more than one time where I've stamped something the wrong way and then had to go back and try to fix it later. Or hack around it later. So if I did not say it already, I'm using Poppy Parade ink and I'm stamping the outline image first, and then I'm going to come back in and hopefully stamp the fill-in image right over the top. I got it, I think, pretty well. So it's always a little challenging trying to look through the camera and stamp. So, because the camera's right in between me and the image, so it's definitely a little easier to not have that in the middle of us. But all right, then I'm going to line it up in the punch and just punch it out. So I've got the strawberry bottom done. Next up is going to be my little strawberry top. And again, just a strip of paper. You could even use the original one that I started with. So whatever pieces, kind of scraps that you have around that are in strips will work best. And I have got the outlined strawberry top image here, and this is Granny Apple Green ink that I'm inking it with. And again, I want to take a look at my punch and figure out which way around I need to stamp this. So I'm going to be sliding it in this way, so I'm going to need it stamped so that it faces like that. And get my little fill-in image, and I put that actually on a larger block. And that is one little tip that I have with it. The larger blocks seem to, again, as I look through the camera and try to do this, the larger blocks seem to make it a little easier for me to line these up. I don't know why it is. I feel like I have better control when I use a longer block to stamp the image. Hopefully I was on camera when I was doing that, because I just looked up and realized that it was down kind of low. So hopefully you saw what I was doing. But anyway. All right, so let's slide this into the punch then, and we will punch this part out. And if you use the smaller pieces of cardstock, I didn't grab one today because I've got kind of longer strips, so I'm not as worried about it. But if you're going to use smaller pieces of cardstock and they don't reach the edge of the punch, you can always take a Post-it note and stick it on your smaller piece of cardstock and then use that to kind of maneuver the paper around inside your punch. That definitely makes it much easier. All right, the last thing that I need to stamp is one more of the little flowers, and I'm going to do that in Daffodil Delight ink. And I'm going to stamp the outline first. And this one doesn't necessarily matter so much because it's on the edge of the piece of paper, so I can stamp that however it works best. And then I'm going to ink this up, stamp it on scrap paper. I can't remember if I didn't stamp that off actually. I think I did it full strength. So this one is a little more challenging for me because again, I'm looking through the camera and trying to get it stamped right. Right over the top of it, and it's a little lighter color, so it's a little harder for me to see. I'm getting to be a blind old lady, so I probably need to get some new glasses here soon. And then just going to maneuver it around in the punch until it lines up with the petals. And punch it out. Set that aside, and then we'll start assembling everything. All right, so I've got my my die cut circle here. Someday I'll learn how to talk. And I'm going to adhere that onto my piece of Designer Series paper, actually before I do any of the other layering, because I need to trim the edge of this so that it is even with the edge of my designer paper. Again, this was for a sketch challenge, and it kind of left I'm going to twist this around here just a little bit, I think. And it kind of had part of the circle hanging off on the sketch challenge, so that's why I set it up that way. And then you can either take your paper trimmer or just your paper snips and follow the line of the designer paper and chop it off so that it is even along the edge. And then I'm going to adhere this to a piece of basic white cardstock. The basic white cardstock is cut to 3 3/4 by 5. And again, just taking Stampin' Seal to adhere the two together. And all the cardstock cuts and details for this card will be posted on my blog tomorrow. And I will add a link to the blog post in this video as soon as the blog post goes live. So if you want to come back and take a look at the cardstock cuts, you definitely can do that. I'll link it up in the blog post. Or link it up in the the description section on this video. All right, so let's start sticking some strawberries together here. My glue dots are over here, and again, because I'm kind of a lazy stamper and I like to have things done quickly, you can use liquid glue if you want to adhere these together, but glue dots for me are just so much faster because there's no drying time involved, and I can just stick them together and stick them on the card and be done with it. So that's kind of how I like to roll when I stamp, is I like to make it quick and easy. And so hopefully y'all are like me. So, but again, you can use liquid glue if you want to. I just prefer the little glue dots because they're fast. Then I've got some Stampin' Dimensionals over here, and I'm just going to adhere my 2 strawberries onto the circle. And these, of course, are my half Stampin' Dimensionals. I've already chopped them right down the middle. And I will adhere this one over the top of the twine here, making sure that I'm covering up my glue dot that I've got sticking there. And then I'm going to take the other one and adhere it kind of right over here so that I'm also covering up the glue dot that I've got over here. The only thing I want to be a little careful of when I'm putting my dimensionals on the second one is just making sure that I don't get too close to this edge, because I know that's going to overlap a little bit. Actually, I probably will go ahead and do it before I adhere it down. As I say, I'll add another little glue dot right over here so that it sticks to this strawberry as well, without causing a big lump, because if I'd put a dimensional over there, it'd be a big kind of odd lump on the strawberry that I wouldn't necessarily like the look of. So, all right, so let's go over here, and we've got that one adhered right over the top there. And then I use just glue dots to adhere down the other pieces that are punched out here. So I've got my one little lone strawberry off to the side here, and I just adhered that with glue dots. And then I tucked the little flower punches around with glue dots as well, and just stuck them in and around my strawberries. There's the final one. And I think I'll tuck that, I think I'll go right up underneath there. All right. Last thing I need to do, well, actually 2 more things to do on the card front. I need to stamp the sentiment and add some rhinestones. So I did pre-cut this, and we are going to hope that I stamp it straight and in the right place so that I don't have to run over and recut it, but if I do, that's okay. So this is a piece of basic white cardstock that I have cut with the smallest of the stitched rectangle dies. And I've got the sentiment from the Sweet Strawberry stamp set. And it's just the basic thank you sentiment, but I think this one would also work for the birthday or, you know, anything else that you want to put on it. I'm going to slide this down here a little bit and try to get it somewhat lined up straight. And keep my fingers crossed that I get a good image the first time. Stamping it down here, giving it a second to hold. And I think that actually looks pretty good. So we are going to go with that one. And again, that was Poppy Parade ink that I stamped it in. And let me grab a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put those here on the back. If you want to use the mini dimensionals on this rather than slicing your larger dimensionals in half, you definitely can do that. I just like the sliced in half dimensionals because I feel like they hold better and they fit better than the mini ones do on a lot of things. Not that there's anything wrong with the mini ones. If that's your preferred dimensional, then you can certainly use those. So, all right, I'm going to adhere this down here to the card front. And then grab my card base. My original card base I had cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored it at 5 1/2 across the top, so it's a top opening card. But this one I actually have just a standard issue book fold card, so this is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So this card front definitely will work on either one of your cards. Card types, I should say, card bases. And I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere the card front that we just got done putting together. to the card base. And you saw I just chopped my Stampin' Dimensionals in half right down the middle. It's pretty easy to do, and you get twice as many out of the pack. And I use tons of Stampin' Dimensionals, so definitely I like cutting mine up. And I cut up the edges and everything too. So, all right. Now comes the trick of putting this on the card front and hoping that we get everything lined up straight and even around the edges. I think I did it. And the final piece on the card front is just a couple of the rhinestones. And I'm going to use, I think, one of the larger ones because I had it here handy. And I tucked that one over here. And then a couple of the smaller ones kind of tucked up here around my strawberry images. I'm going to move this one down here a little bit. And I think we will call that good for the card front. On the inside of the card, I kept it pretty simple as well. I've got basic white cardstock, and this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to stamp the little strawberry image on it again in Poppy Parade ink. I've got the outline from the Sweet Strawberry stamp set, and I'm going to take that and stamp it down here on the lower corner. And then come back in with the more solid image, ink it up, and hopefully stamp it directly over the top. Of course I say that, and I'll probably stamp it all crazy. I think I'm 2 for 2 today, so that's, although I still have one more thing to stamp, so I shouldn't start talking just yet. So, because usually about the time I do that, then I have a total disaster again with the next thing I stamp. All right, so the last thing, everybody keep your fingers crossed that I don't make a mess. We're going to just stamp the little strawberry top here in Granny Apple Green ink. And again, I'm going to take a look at my punch and make sure that I'm stamping it the right way on the piece of cardstock that I've got. So I've got the outline image here, just stamping that down. And then I'm going to take my little fill-in image and stamp it right over the top, hopefully. Look at that. You know, yeah, hear the crowd. So, no, I'm just kidding. So, all right. So let me slide this into the punch here. Again, I put it over to the one side so I could fairly easily punch it out. Get it lined up and give it a little squeeze, and the punch is all done. Let me grab my glue dots again to adhere the strawberry top to the top of the strawberry on the inside of the card. And that's going to be it. I'm just going to take a little Stampin' Seal and adhere this to the inside of the card base. And we'll be all done with the card, and you all can get on with your day. All right, so let me put this over here and just stick it so that it's somewhat centered here. All right, there we go. Do a quick crease with the bone folder, maybe. Oh, there's my bone folder. And again, quick crease with that. And we are all done with the card today. So I've got 2 little thank you cards all done and ready to go with the Sweet Strawberry stamp set and the coordinating Strawberry Builder Punch, which again, it's supposed to be back in stock this week. So I've got my fingers and toes crossed that y'all are able to get it very, very soon. But again, that's it for the card. So super easy and a fun card. And I love the colors. I love this for spring and summer and all that sort of thing. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will plan to be back on my YouTube channel live around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Friday. And then I will be back here again on Facebook Live around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Monday. So again, don't forget about the free shipping tomorrow. Make sure, which is March 17th, whatever day you're watching this, make sure you're getting on it and getting your order put in tomorrow, March 17th, to get free shipping from Stampin' Up. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'll be posting all the details on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And you can take a peek at the blog post and get your order put in at the same time. So, all right. Thanks so much for joining today, and we will chat soon.